Think we're okay? All right. Hey, everybody. How you guys doing today? As always, let me know if everything's working all right, and we will get started as soon as I know that it's going. Let me make sure that this is up. Should be up. Oh, hey, looks like it's good. Okay. Can't believe it's December already. I know you're sick of hearing that, but it's wild how fast the time has gone this year. It feels like everything just kind of flew by faster than normal. But that happens. The older that you get, the quicker time seems to go. And birthdays aren't fun. And I have one coming up. Not fun anymore, at least. But it's been a good day, I suppose. I've been dealing with Toman. That's been interesting. Talking to them about the Sire. But I'll get more into specifics on that at a later date. Yeah, what do I want to start with here? The digital stuff. So, with the Harley Benton that I made the video about the other day, I have a few things to talk about with this actually. The Harley Benton DNAfx Pro that I thought it was going to be. It ended up, I was right. It is the DNAfx Pro. And they showed a picture of it. You know what? I took a screenshot. Let me send it to myself, and then I can show you guys it. We could talk about it. But basically, this is what I thought it was going to be. It looks like it does have an effects loop in it, and it's a much nicer, more modern-looking kind of. There we go. All right, receiving. But basically, it does look like their take on a HX Tom. So let me open this, go here, and image, browse. Sorry, I am discombobulated today. Cool. All right. So this is it, basically. So what we can tell from this thing, first of all, there's a third XLR right there. You could tell by the silver plate. So it has at least the two XLR outputs right there. It looks like on the left of that, what appears to be MIDI and then a USB. Two inputs for an external jack, which is kind of cool, I guess, an expression pedal. And then I would guess input one, two other outputs, or maybe only just one output. And then these guys on the end, that's got to be the effects loop. But as a whole here, 4 buttons on it. A looper built in, obviously. A expression pedal built in, obviously. And yeah, looks like a much more modern kind of aesthetic to it. And I like that the output is on there. It's pretty cool. Which new podcast idea, Rowan? Okay. Yeah, so, but they didn't release it today. What Tolman instead released were new Fusions. And by new, I mean they just have Floyd Roses on them, and they have those maple veneer kind of flame tops. So nothing crazy with that. It's just a Fusion 3. All the other specs are the same. You can get the 2 humbucker model now with the tremolo without the pickup ring covers, which looks a lot better and a lot more expensive, because that's one of the things that Dave and I complained about with those models. With the pickup rings on it, it looks kind of cheap. It looks like a $100 guitar. Yeah, pretty boring. Pretty boring. I don't know. I have to say, the Harley Benton stuff in general, I'm fairly bored of. I am. But this is what you guys got to understand. And this sucks. And this is something that I've had to come to terms with. I'm just going to be honest here. I'll give you a perfect example. I do the Sire video. That guitar costs me, a decent chunk of change, significantly twice as much as a Harley Benton, right? I do the full thing on it, and it gets like no views compared to any of the other stuff. I think it has to date like maybe 600 or 700 views, which is fine. But when I do those kinds of guitars, part of the reason is to get more views so that it eventually gets more people to watch the channel in the long run. It's not about like getting people to get 1 million views on each one of those. I don't care about that. Everything I do is about the long game. However, 2 days after that, I make a dumb video. A dumb video. Because all it is commenting on this Harley Benton thing. And all it is the teaser picture that they posted of it. I know that's going to do better. And it had more views than the Sire did. The Sire had like I want to say like a 60-hour head start on it, and within 4 hours the Harley Benton thing smashed it. So when my goal here is to get more people to see the channel so that they will see the videos that like I actually care about, as far as like, you know, when I do specific things with instruments and comparisons and talk about things that are important to me and guitars that I really do like, it kind of casts a bigger net for more people to see that stuff. So I kind of have to do the Harley Benton stuff because it gets so many people in the damn door. And it's frustrating. And I don't know. I have nothing against that brand, obviously. I mean, I get them in. And with demoing those guitars, I'm bored of it because I know what I'm getting. Like, I've had enough of them in this last year where I don't know. I don't get excited about it. It's just like, here's another one. I know this is going to be good. This might not be good. The electronics are going to be okay. Like, it's fine. They're good guitars, but it's boring to me. And it's kind of frustrating. And especially because I did the Sire, and that's a guitar that has so much hype around it, and there's no interest. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to play to the audience. And any musician knows that. Let me see what you got here. People who buy Sires don't need to watch your review. But yeah, I mean, to an extent, but I don't know. I didn't expect the disparity to be that big. It's huge. And I have problems with that guitar. I was talking about this on the Audiomo podcast. And that's really good that you say that, by the way, Rowan. And Gavin, how's it going? Didn't mean to ignore you. Because that's something that we want to do. I want this to become more music related in general, the channel. I don't want it to just be talking about gear. I really don't. When we were talking on the Audiomo podcast about the Sire, I took this guy out because I noticed when I was playing it unplugged, it sounded like really choked. I'm like, this guitar doesn't sound right. Like, there's something about it. And a lot of the frets are not level, and specifically the second fret is very high. So when you play open chords on it, it has it doesn't sound good. If you ever played a guitar that has that issue, it's not something fun. And I'm not somebody that does fret work. I mean, I can in a pinch. I don't do that. I do enough crap. But I don't know. And Tolman is really not being the easiest here about potentially returning it or finding some other option. They asked me to get a shipping quote to ship it back, and I was quoted at $730 as the cheapest option with my business discount from UPS to ship a $700 guitar back. So obviously that ain't happening. Just, I don't know, kind of discouraging. Been really frustrated with that situation, and I was hoping it would have been resolved by now, but it's not. So it makes me wish I had done, who was it? Robbo got a Ibanez, an AS93. And for a 335 style guitar, I wish, I don't know, it would be easier if I had an issue with one of those, because obviously I would have gotten it from somebody in America. And the other thing is, I mean, the only reason I didn't do that though is because, you know, there's almost nothing on the Sires. Very, very few things. And the things that are on the Sires, they're all paid promotions. I've not seen like one like legitimately independent person go over that guitar. So I thought, yeah, we'll do it. Oh, there's Robbo. Yeah, Robbo's one. I'm glad it's not just me who doesn't have much interest in Harley Bentons. I mean, they are what they are. And there's a reason why, like, I don't, like, if you look at the guitars, what one of the Harley Bentons have I kept, like, long term? I think they'll work. The only one I plan on keeping is the Fusion, because it fills kind of a need. And I genuinely do. I love the neck on that guitar. And I can't see myself ever spending the real money on a Japanese Charbel. because I just don't play that style of music enough, and that gets me close enough in the ballpark. But as a whole, it's like, you know, it does so well on here where it's enticing to talk about them and to do those videos. Because I don't know what it is about that brand. The internet loves Harley Benton's. They love them in a way that I cannot even, like, I can't fathom it. I can't fathom it, you know? I do a one-off Fender custom shop Mustang, and nobody cares. I do a really rare custom shop Jag, nobody cares. We do the ES Les Paul, nobody cares. I did $300 Harley Benton, and I can't even control my phone blowing up with all of the notifications on comments and stuff like that. It's wild. It really is. So, I don't know. Let's see how we're doing here. They've been racing the same guitar for 3 years. Well, some of them, yeah. Some of them. And then some of the designs I just have no interest in. Like their take on the Jazzmaster, that is never happening. It's never happening. That thing doesn't even have, it doesn't have the right trem on it. It doesn't have a trem on it. I think it's a hardtail with a tune-o-matic bridge. No thanks. I'm good. Hey Marcus, how's it going? But no, like, and here's the thing, like, I don't want to lose you guys as far as, like, my core audience, because obviously you guys are the ones that show up for all this stuff. You guys are the ones that interact the most. So I guess then I would ask you the question, what would you like for me to focus on more? Really? Because I can do all this. I have a bunch of stuff to work with here. So, let me see here. No, the only thing I bought for Black Friday was the half price Neural DSP plugin, and I bought my wife a 3-pack of bass strings. What else did I buy her? She got more than I did with music gear on Black Friday. I bought her a 3-pack of bass strings, a new pick guard for her bass, and a vocal pedal that adds reverb, so that when we play to the internet, which is a whole nother can of worms, it won't just be direct in. So that should be pretty fun. So yeah, she made out pretty good. Me, on the other hand, wah. Yeah, the offsets from Harley Benton. Yeah, I don't like them. I don't like it. But I don't know. And the other thing is, we tried the Squires. I don't love those. I'll never buy a Chinese Squire again. I'll never buy another Chinese Squire after the last one. I thought the baritone was pretty cool, but the thin line Cabronita had some serious issues, and a lot of it have to do with the fact that I got really mad at Fender and Squire here. Granted, Nathan, the customer service rep at Fender, he totally understood, and that's why we got the free credit from Fender directly to as kind of like a sorry about that. I don't understand how a knockoff company, and pardon me for saying that, but I mean, let's call a spade here, like Guitar Fetish, can make a Telecaster body, for example, and it will fit a Fender Telecaster neck, no problem on it. But if you buy a Squire, and in the description of a Fender aftermarket neck, it says these will only fit Fenders and Squires. You buy Paranormal, it's not taking a Fender neck. And it's not even close, because they don't actually measure it correctly, the neck heel and the neck pocket. So they don't line up together. You can't fit it in there. And I hate the neck on that guitar. Like, I made the video yesterday with the calipers, kind of giving you guys an idea of how I use them and stuff like that, because they are useful tools. But if Fender had released more accurate information, and I feel like this is a lot of things, I feel like there are brands that I would buy from too if they provided this information as far as the neck thickness, not just the profile. You can't just say Modern C, because even Modern C, from brand to brand, you're going to get a very, very different kind of neck. Like, if you just provide the thickness, I would have never bought that guitar because it's way too thin. But then if I had, on top of that, known that a Fender neck is not going to fit a Fender licensed guitar body when it says it will, I don't know. So I am done. I am done with them, and there's no value in that. They're $450 to $500 now. No, I could build a parts caster that's a better guitar. Let's see. Amps. You know, I was looking at 2 amps, 3 amps, 4 amps. I was looking at the Marshall Studio Vintage. I was looking at the Mesa Rectiverb, the 25. That's an amp I've wanted for many years. Prices are just crazy on that. I was looking at a Jubilee, Silver Jubilee, and I was looking at, what was the last one I was looking at? Oh, my head's fried. The Fillmore 25. I think what I kind of want to do here is, I want to get like one, because I love the Music Man, but it only does clean. And pedal distortion for me has never been something that I'm in love with. I love tube distortion, preamp distortion, drive. So what I was thinking is I would invest in one like do-it-all kind of amp for all the demos too. And that would do 2 things. First of all, that allows me to give the organic, like, you know, how does this guitar sound through an amp? You know, that kind of thing in the demos and stuff like that, because that's how I like recording. I don't like this digital stuff. It serves its purpose and it's definitely useful and it doesn't sound bad, but I don't like it. I don't know. I've used enough of it, and there's a big difference between the Quad Cortex quality and the Line 6. There's a big difference. Having switched back is a bigger difference than when I switched from it. There's a lot I miss about the Quad Cortex, but not enough to justify the $2,400 I got for it. It's not worth it to me because I'm still going to play through an amp. But in regards to the amps, I don't know. I don't know which one I'm going to end up with here, but I want one. And what would you guys think about that? Would you guys rather have like kind of a bunch of digital amps where, you know, if I want like a Vox kind of sound and this kind of thing for a demo, I can do that? Or is it good to just have the one baseline amp? I know it's going through a 57. Maybe sometimes I'll blend in a condenser with it. I don't know. Because I think the 2 best people at guitar demos on this website, they're both at stores actually. Peach Guitars, Jack. That guy, most of the demos that he does for Peach are through valve amps, tube amps, and mic'd up properly. The other one is American, who's the greatest guitar player in the world, in my opinion, that's alive, is Greg Koch in Wildwood. And he ain't going digital. And it sounds fantastic. So, I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear what you guys have to say about that. Let me catch up here. U-shape is really similar to a C. That's the one thing I've noticed, having played so many of them. Did you see that Reverb released for top-selling guitars? Yeah, I did see that. I didn't actually... I almost made a video on it, but I was like, this is dumb. Like, I was starting to feel like I was going to do clickbait. And I don't want to do reaction videos. That's not happening. Reacting to the Beatles documentary sat in front of my console. No, I'm not such a self-indulgent asshole that I'm going to make a video like that. No, I found it was too typical. I think it was, what, 7 Fenders, Marcus? There was like 7 Fenders. The only non-Fenders on the list were the Silver Sky, like you said, and LTD EC2, or no, it wasn't the 256, the EC1000, I think. And then I think 2 Gibsons, maybe the Les Paul Standard 60s, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the majority were Fenders, the majority were Strats. It doesn't surprise me. I felt like it would have just been a redundant make a video for the sake of making a video, knowing it will get a lot of clicks, and yeah, I don't know. Doesn't really interest me. That's awesome, Robbo. I would absolutely be checking out a store like that. Are they big though? Do they have like more than one location, or is it just one? Because I hold shops that only have one physical location a little more dear because it feels more like a mom and pop. If that makes any sense. 9 Fenders, 4 Squires. Jeez. Not shocking. The Katana. You spent too much money in Florida. Why you use a credit card? Use a credit card. Unless you're getting a 0% APR, don't use a credit card right now. My dad's yelling at me about that. He might be listening to this. You know he listens to these? This crazy old man. He just sits and he listens. You know what else he does? He reads all the comments. It's hilarious. He'll call me if somebody makes a bad comment on any of my videos and be like, Jimmy, did you see that asshole said this about you? Oh, you you handled that guy really good, or these guys they ganged. And I'm like, get out of the comment section. Like, Dad, get out of the comment section. This is not a healthy place for anyone to be. Nevertheless, you just don't. Thank you for watching, but don't dive into the comments. Like, I don't even take it that serious. Don't do that. Don't do that, Dad. If you're watching, don't do that. Get out of the comment section. If you have 0% APR, then yeah, that's cool. That's not so bad. But it can get tempting. You can get tempted to buy some stuff. When you have 0% and they're going to give you a decent term on it, you can find yourself in some trouble. I don't say that for any particular reason, but I might find myself in trouble. Okay, so just one store? Yeah, I would absolutely check them out then. Why don't you go there, Rob? I've never heard you talk about them then. Oh, your comment just popped up. Yeah. I think the only lower end thing, and by lower end, I mean like, what, 800 quid? Is the PRS SEs. I think that's the only thing I've seen them have in stock that was remotely, budget. Everything else they have is really high end. I kind of like that though. I kind of like that. I kind of like when a store's just gonna appeal to a certain audience, no matter who the audience is. I think it's wise to do that. Like if you're a lower budget store, and you see that all the time, no matter where you are in the world, you'll see some stores where it's clearly a mom and pop. They have very generic guitars, very generic strings, like acoustic brands like Luna and, like Michael Kelly, things like that. And you get it. But those guys will be experts in those lower end guitars. So if you have a problem, at least, they'll know what they're doing. Whereas a place like Peach, they're just going after a different demographic. They want the guy who's going to spend a lot of money on really high-end guitars and amps, or something that's really hard to find. So I can understand it. I just wish we had more options, period. And I hate seeing shops close. Another 2 shops that I used to go to have shut down. Really sad. Yes, Michael, that's the other thing. That's a good point. If even if you're not getting 0% APR, say you're getting, as long as it's not compound interest, because that's the one thing. Stay the hell away. If you see compound interest, run. That's no good. You don't want that. If you have an option where the interest is deferred for like 6 months, and you could pay 0% up until those 6 months, but if you pay it off before then entirely, you'll pay none. That's a good deal. As long as you're going to pay the damn thing off. Don't be one of those people that says, oh, I'm going to do that. And then month 7, you're wondering, why the hell is my thing all the way up? Yeah, it's because in the contract that you signed, because technically that's what you did. It's an agreement. You've agreed to do that. And now you're not getting that out of any of that. So if you're going to do that, just make sure you pay it all off. You'll be all right. I didn't know what I was going to do. Busch Gardens. Busch Gardens is a fun place. I haven't been there since I was like 10. Oh my God, that was so long ago. That was almost 30 years ago. God, getting old sucks. At least I look young. I have that going for me. But I feel like one day I'm just going to wake up and I'm going to look like total garbage. I feel like it's going to be an overnight transition for me. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. However, let me see here. Yeah, with the stocking up, I mentioned to you guys earlier. That's the one he went to. We went to the one in Tampa. I mentioned to you guys earlier, I picked up my wife some bass guitar strings. I saw the prices of strings have gone up a bit because I don't buy individual sets. That's really dumb. Don't do that, guys. Always buy at least, a 6 or a 12 pack, like you're going to be buying beer. All right. Not that I advocate for that. I don't drink anymore, but it saves you money. I normally buy Ernie Ball hybrid slinkies in 12 pack, and it would be $44.95. Those have gone up. The cheapest ones I've found are now $63.99, and I'm like, woo! And this is like in a month and a half span, and it's all across the board. So, oh, it kind of makes you just want to get those little things. Not even like in a scare, like, oh, what if the guitar makers stop making strings, or what if we can't get all the parts? It's like, no, I'm not even looking at it like that. Like, I'm looking at it in terms of, I just know everything is just going to keep getting more expensive. So if you have the money now and you know you're going to use it later, why not? Doesn't hurt. I don't know, that's just my perspective. It's why I always have like an entire closet in our kitchen. I have like an ungodly amount of rice because we're always going to use it. I eat rice every day. Part of being a Colombian. It's one of those things. So we've already talked about the digital. How I don't really like digital. I kind of want to get out of it. Or if I have to use it, I want to be in as low as I can be, which I feel like the Stomp kind of is. That's like the ground floor, whereas I can take it out and it'll do what I need to do for gigs. I don't think we're going to be spending much more money on digital stuff. Talked about stocking up a little bit. You guys really should, just consider it. It's always good to have stuff when you can get it, if you have the money available to you. Main thing I wanted to talk about is that Mustang. Now, you guys might have forgotten about this guitar. Let me grab it real quick. Okay. So this guitar, this is the custom shop. After I did the unboxing and very brief demo of this guitar, it went back in the case, and I didn't open it back up until yesterday. Because I bought it to sell it, and I figured, because this is such a rare guitar, you really can't find these. I don't want it potentially getting dinged up. I don't want to get my sweaty hands and grubs all over it. But I said, you know what? I'm just going to revisit this guitar. It's here. I might as well play it. There's nobody home. So I did. And this is why the guitar business sucks. This is such a good guitar. It's such a good guitar. And the thing about Mustangs, and I find this interesting, because if you never played an offset and you don't know, like a Jazzmaster, a Jaguar, and a Mustang, they're very, very different, obviously, for differing reasons. But the two things that the Jaguar and the Mustang have in common against the Jazzmaster, the Jazzmaster has the same scale length as a Tele or a Strat, which is 25.5 inches. The Mustang and the Jag are 24-inch. Now, what does that mean? Obviously, tonally, you get a little bit more bite. But in terms of the feel, the strings on this feel very, very slinky, very loose. It's a very easy, very, very pleasurable experience if you're into that kind of thing. If you like a lot of tension in your strings, you would probably hate these guitars, but I don't. And that's part of the reason I love the Gibson, the 339 so much. Very slinky feeling to it. But this guitar, despite having the same exact scale length as the Jaguar, feels so much looser than the Jaguar. And everything I was playing on it, I was going sharp with bends. And you have to be very delicate with how you play it. But when you get this right, man, this is one hell of an instrument. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird because I've played so many Mustangs and I've had so many Mustangs because they're great selling guitars for me. There's so much demand with them, and because I get them in the custom colors, I don't think I've had one for sale stick around longer than 2 weeks. The majority of them, when I get them, I look at if there is one in that finish available on Reverb, I look at the highest price in that, and I go like $100 to $200 less, and it sells like immediately. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with this guy. Obviously, I'm going to sit on it until I get exactly what I want for it, but the point I'm going to get to here is the difference between a really high-end guitar and some of the budget ones, even the parts caster, the Jaguar, is so monumentally big and gets so overlooked because the intangibles that this guitar has, and any really high-end guitar to an extent has over those, it's immeasurable, and it's stuff that you can't switch. Could you buy a Squire Mustang, like a classic vibe, and soup it up and get a similar sound out of it through the computer? Probably. Yeah, sure. No reason why not. But as far as just like the feel of this, the feel of when you open up the case, you feel like you're looking at something special. And that's something that, as a musician, when you do get to play, that can be very inspiring in it by itself. So I feel like everybody should have at least one guitar that they look at like that. It doesn't need to be a Fender custom shop. You know what I mean? But like, you should have that one guitar where you feel like, okay, like this is really good quality to it. And when you open up the case, you feel like, you have something special on your hands, not just a generic run-of-the-mill or a parts caster or anything like that, or I don't know, something that feels like it has a compromise in it. Because a lot of these guitars, even, you look at the Mexican range of Fenders that are $1,500. Those have so many compromises in them, but they're still $1,500. You don't get any of that. You don't get any of that like wow factor to it. And I don't know. It's just one of those things. I guess it depends how you look at guitar. But for me, I would much rather have something like this. Not saying I'm going to keep this, but I would much rather have something like this that I look at it and I feel lucky to have it, and I feel so grateful, and it kind of comes out in my playing, and I really appreciate how well together it is built. So I am going to be making a video talking about this topic more in depth, because I'm going to do the pink parts caster and the custom shop Jag, and just talk about why one is significantly better than the other one. And it goes beyond, just price. There's certain things that you can't put a price on, so to speak. It's weird. Let me put this guy back. I don't want to damage it or ding it. All right, let me catch up here. I don't drink Mexican Coke every day. I got no sleep for like the second night in a row. And I'm out of coffee. So I have these guys as like my reserves to give me a little bit of a caffeine boost. Because I am in a bad way with tiredness. I don't know if you guys can tell in my videos. I try to up the energy level a little bit, but I am fried, man. I'm just fried. Nothing special though. Just typical, life, work, marriage, kid, puppy. Hard to sleep. The worst guitar you ever had was a Bullet Mustang. Worst guitar I've ever had was a Epiphone Les Pauls 60s. That guitar was the worst pile of crap I've ever played. God, that guitar sucked. That guitar really sucked. And that was after I had my Dot. I had one of the Korean Dots. That was the first Epiphone I ever bought. And that guitar wasn't like bad, but it was really bland. It had no life when you played it acoustically. It was just, it was what it was. It wasn't great. I know a lot of people love those Korean Epiphones, but it didn't do anything for me. And then I tried the Epiphone Les Paul Standard 60s. There's a reason why those things you can get all day with a hard case, upgraded pickups, upgraded tuners, electronics, and hardware for like $350. There's a damn good reason for that. Just saying. Oh. All right, let me see here. We had an interesting. I got to make a poll, because that's the new thing we do here. We make a poll every week. One, price is no factor. I'm gonna give you two options here. No, I'll give you more than two. Let me see if. Now, today's poll is a simple one. It's right to the point, though. If money was no issue, not a factor, you could pick out whatever you want. And I'm talking about new guitars when I say this. Just to be clear, you got to give somebody this money for a new guitar. We're not talking about vintage. We're not talking about used. Which brand would you go with? Kind of want to see where you guys would fall on this one. This one, I'm not so sure. I think the other category might fill up. But I didn't want to type out a billion brands. Hey, Octo, I thank you. I appreciate that. I don't get adequate sleep. I average between 3 to 5 hours for the last 5 years. Yeah. It's pretty terrible. So, again, it's one of those things where it makes me wonder how I get any of this stuff done or how I make a video every day. But I think that's going to be over. I think on January 4th. I think January 4th is going to be the end of the every single day. Because that will mean I have made it a full year of doing something every single day. And then I could say I've done it. And I could put a little bit more time into some of the videos. Because there's a lot of topics that, like I said, it's a busy day. And, well, not just today, just in general. For example, I'll be having a really busy day, but there's something I really want to talk about. And I don't want to half-ass it. I don't want to force through a video that I feel like could be great and just post something that's mediocre. That's just me. Oh, you bought the HSS? That's awesome. Sago, that's a good choice. That's a really good choice. I was looking at a Saito. Those are very interesting to me. And you know what I was really looking at? I was looking at a Navigator. But the import duty on a Navigator. Oh, God. And if you guys don't know what Navigators are, Navigator is like the ESP custom shop. They make better Les Pauls than the majority of the Gibsons. Yeah, they're just to die for. They're great guitars. But if you want one new, first of all, you got to find somebody that's willing to sell it to you. That can be a problem in itself, because it's not exactly, you're skirting the lines of legalities at that point. But if you can get one like open box or in mint condition, how much are you looking at here? 5-6 grand before the shipping, before the import tax. It's a lot of money, man. But you'll get a guitar that is infinitely better than any of that Murphy Labs crap that they're putting out right now. It just won't say Gibson on the headstock. However, that's out of my price range. And the thing about Navigators is used, you're still looking at like between $35,000 and $4,000 for ones that are like decently beat up to get to America from there. So the value proposition isn't the best. Just sucks. If it was up to me, I don't know. I wish I lived in Japan. If it was up to me, that would be the answer. I would live in Japan. I would not have any of these things to worry about. I would just play Fender Japan. I'd play Navigators. I'd have all the fun in the world doing that stuff and saving a ton of money in the process. Let me see. All right, how are you guys doing on this? I see PRS at 44%. Let me check this. Fender getting no love. Fender getting no love. That's not what I was expecting here. Okay. I didn't see that coming. I think PRS are great. I have nothing bad. Not a bad thing to say. Yeah, the old Tokais are fantastic. But, like, the 400 series, you look at how much money they've gone up to, man. Look at how much money those things are. It's insane. A few people figured out how good they were. And for like 10 years, you used to be able to get those Tokais and the Bernies, the early Bernies, to a lesser point, because I think the Tokais were better. those Tokais you used to be able to get at a very reasonable price. Now, the cat is out of the bag, as they say. And you can pay out your nose. The other thing is, if you don't know what you're looking for with Tokai, you will end up with a very mediocre guitar, or potentially a Chinese-made Tokai, still paying $1,000 if you don't know what you're doing. It's risky business. It's a risky business. But you got to find the right ones. I know that they sell new ones in the mid 100 range. And when I say the mid 100 range, that's approximately like, they vary from like 10,000, 100,000 yen to like 1,800 or 180,000 yen. Sorry. That's just that's how they price things like that. They price their model numbers based on how much yen the guitar is supposed to be sold for new. But you can get some of those for under $2,000 on a few websites like Digimart, eBay if you're really desperate. But they're great too. I love the Tokais. It just, I don't know, the whole importing and all that stuff. And right now, I've had a few guitars get damaged, and not from the people packing them poorly in Japan, but from the idiots in this country who just chuck packages. Like literally, they just chuck packages, and that will lead to damaged gear, especially, guitars. And the one thing you hate to see, like think of the Orville by Gibson that we had, and those people at DHL left it just out in the Miami sun for 4 days, basically, in a non-temperature controlled environment, and then threw it, and the box was all messed up. It sucks. Wasn't there another guitar you need refurbed, Robbo, besides the Tokai? I thought we talked about that too. I forget which one it was. See, I have strange memory. I remember little things like that, but I like the specifics. Nah. I can barely remember anything. People are lucky I remember their birthdays. Like I know my kid's birthday, my wife's birthday. I'm okay. Is there tariffs or quotas placed on Japanese guitars? No. The only thing is, if you're importing a guitar to the United States, it doesn't matter where it's from. If they declare the value is over $800, you're going to pay an import duty on it. If the value is under $800, you're just fine. That is the key, my friend. Because all of a sudden the guitar that's $805 is significantly more expensive for you to import than a guitar that is $795. That's just the way it goes. So when I'm shopping, I always keep that in mind in the back of my head. Speaking of shopping, you know where I haven't looked today? Where haven't we looked today, guys? And Greco pops up at Dave's Guitar Shop. But this is an early 90s Greco. It probably weighs 56 pounds. Made in Japan. I'll show you guys. Let me just see here. I'll show you guys. This is another brand that I would say I would much rather have Tokai over this brand. But Greco's not bad. Greco's not bad. All right, load it up. We can do it. Window capture. Come on, you can do it, I promise. Where the hell is this thing? There we go. View. This just popped up on Dave's. It's only 9 pounds. It's not bad. If you look at it. But that's pretty standard. That's pretty run of the mill. Nothing really special about that. But I mean, by comparison, I'd much rather have this than any of the garbage Epiphone puts out. This old 90s Japanese Les Paul with no-name electronics. And beaten up to hell. A natural relic, so to speak. Is that a veneer? No. No, it's not. Wow. That's 72. Yeah, that's not a really high-end model of it. But that's not a... I mean, the thing is, in this market, with how screwed up everything is, that's not terrible. The other thing is, that's all that would cost, would be $850. I wouldn't pay shipping or tax. We're not buying this guitar. I'm just giving you a value kind of perspective as to why I would say that that's not a terrible deal. That's all. Easy as that. But they have that, and they have another PRS that just popped up, but it's one of the ugly 3 single coiled ones, one of the original studios. It's really cheap though. The 305. It's $1,250. That's got to be a bolt-on. It is. It is. Yeah, I might as well show you. You can do it. That just looks wrong. What do you guys think? Does that look like wrong? It looks like a CE24 that just got single coils thrown into it. And inherently, that's kind of what it is, but yeah, you get your... Well, no, what? That's strange. A little bit of love on it. A little bit of love. Not a bolt-on. I clicked a small image and I thought, oh, it's a bolt-on. No, it's just the neck's not finished. Huh. Yeah, so if you want a affordable PRS here, well before the S2s were a thing, and you can get past that kind of look, maybe that was the original Silver Sky, guys. Maybe that's all it is. It's just one of these guys with a pick guard on it and a different tremolo system. Oh, man. That'd be pretty funny. I kid. Okay. Hey, Raph. For those with collections, do you have a theme or just collect guitars you like and can afford? My theme, and when I collect guitars that I want to keep, is get something that is actually rare or uncommon, something that is out of production, something where the factory is not even open is even better when you can do that. And that's the way I approach long-term guitars. You get something, like if you're going to spend like a lot of money, and right now you think about it, like we were talking last week about Les Paul standards. After tax, are $2,900 guitars for a standard. There's nothing special about that. You could buy that standard at Sweetwater. You could buy it at a guitar shop down the street. You could buy it at Guitar Center. There's nothing special about that. But if you go to somewhere like that does custom runs like Eddie's Guitars or Wildwood, they're made in way fewer numbers, and they have very, very noticeable differentiating factors in each of them. Plus, those shops don't sell garbage. I cannot stress this enough. You're going to still spend like the $3,000, but you're getting a much more uncommon guitar, not rare. That word gets thrown around a little too much, by the way. We're going to have a video rant about that word in Reverb listings. Somebody calling just normal stock Japanese jazz masters rare, scarce. They're not. But if you can get something that is in limited number, that has things on it that people would want later, it can't just be a custom color, because that's not enough. Like, a really good example of a mistake I made very young. Well, not very young. It was about 10 years ago. I bought a limited edition Sweetwater Mercedes Blue Stratocaster. And it was just the American Standard. My logic was, I think it was $50 more than a regular one, and it'll accrue value over time. The problem was, the only thing unique about that guitar was the fact that it was Mercedes Blue. The rest of it was an American Standard. So it didn't go up in value. I ended up losing money on that guitar. I think I lost like $150, $200 on it, even though it was mint. And I don't know, that's when I started to really consider all of these little things. It was about a decade ago. And when I was coming to buying and reselling guitars, and what guitars I'll hold on to and what guitars I have no interest in. And that's part of the reason you'll never see me with a Mexican Fender. I have no interest in those guitars. The only time you'll see me is if I can find another one of those Tom DeLonges for like $300-400. Easy $1,000 profit. Okay. My Alvarez acoustic. The Alvarez. Oh no, it was the Bullet. We were talking about the Bullet for sure. We were talking about the Bullet. Old 80s Bullet. Those could be cool guitars. Oh, man. Yeah, it's just once you start collecting guitars, it really becomes, why are you doing it? Like, I pretty much just explained to you why I do it, as far as, like, I look at them as it's a much more safe, obviously lower yield kind of investment than stocks. And it's a lot more fun to have money into guitars because you could play them. What the hell are you going to do with a stock? You know, can't do anything with the stock. So yeah, I look at it like that. I look at guitars as a way of safely holding money. I look at a way as guitars to enjoy, you know, investments to a small extent. And I don't lose money on guitars because of that. And it's only because I took it seriously enough to do it. And I'm not special in that sense. Anybody can do it. You just have to really, really do your homework. And you have to really, really, really study the market. You can do those two things, and you can analyze trends and what things are sure things. Because there are a lot of sure things, but you have to be at the right place at the right time. You can do it. You just have to really avoid temptation a lot. Because that's going to be where you're going to get killed. Okay. It's like a squash telly with Mustang pickups. A squash telly with Mustang pickups. Like a Music Master? Or one of the Dual Sonics? One of those old Dual Sonics? Doesn't that have a really short scale length? That Bullet then? Is that a 22-inch? I remember one of those old Bullets from the 80s was a 22-inch scale length guitar. Those are wild to play. I was talking about the Mustang feeling loose. That's like spaghetti. It's spaghetti. Once a guitar has that little tension on it, it's... I could see why people wouldn't like it. I could. All right, let me see how the poll finished up here. Looks like you guys are big PRS fans. Well, I'm gonna call Fender the losers here, because Fender tied in third place with literally every other brand that makes a guitar. Gibson came out second, and Paul Reed Smith. If you guys had unlimited money, you would choose a Paul Reed Smith guitar. So I suppose that kind of leads me to wanting to ask, which one? So if you voted for Paul Reed Smith, let me know which Paul Reed Smith guitar you would take. Money is no kind of issue, and it has to be new. Can't be used. All right. Telly neck. Interesting. Very interesting. I had an early 80s. It hid that comment. I don't want to hide that comment. You didn't do anything bad. You just said a guitar looks like shit. That's fine with me. You're allowed to think a guitar looks like shit. I don't care. Not hurting my feelings. I didn't build it. All right. Yeah. Oh. Did the Germans respond? No, they haven't. And I started this on Sunday, and we still have not reached a resolution here. It's a little concerning, Toman. A little concerning, and I've sold you a lot of guitars. I would get the semi-hollow special, like the cheaper Super Eagle. Yeah, money's not an object. Why wouldn't you just get the Super Eagle? I'm just saying, Raph. Money's not a thing here at this point. That's what you should get. I don't know what I would get. Like, if money really wasn't an object? I've been saying it for years. I'd love to have a Tremonti custom. Yeah, those are great. Old single cut with a tremolo system that's actually functional. Pretty badass. I don't think I'd get much practical use out of that. Because I love the... What does Rowan call them? What does Rowan call them? The wiggle stick? Yeah, is that what you call them in Britain? The wiggle stick. I use the wiggle stick. That sounds ridiculous. If that ever gets clipped, I'm gonna sound really bad. I use the wiggle stick on Fender guitars a lot, but on guitars with humbuckers, I don't really do it. I don't know, because if I'm playing more aggressively, especially a Les Paul style instrument, I'm not using that. I'm not a dive bomber. I'm not a metal guy or even a hard rock guy to that level, to that kind of point. I want the red one. Get your own. There you go. Fight over it. Oh man. Oh, other crept up. Other crept up quick on PRS. Looks like, yeah. Well, it looks like Fender is just not the one. Fender's not the one. I didn't think it would be PRS. I thought Other would win by a landslide. So I'm interested in. Well, no, I'm impressed with that. Hey James, you just got home. We're just wrapping up, but yeah, that's cast a vote real quick before we end this. It's quite interesting. And in regards to that Harley Benton thing, we talked about it earlier today as far as the interface thing, but I don't think they launched it. I think it's not for sale yet. Let me just check real quick because I was planning on ordering it and having it sent to Dave first and having him do his demo on it and then shipping it over to me. But it's looking like it's not available yet. And I think what they did was they released more Fusion 3s instead today. Looks like, no, yeah, it's not released yet. So my plans have been foiled in that sense. My plans have been foiled. We're not doing that. And okay. And I don't really, like I said, I don't really have the interest in the in more Harley Bentons at this point. I just know that, don't get mad at me, I know that every once in a while if I make a video regarding Harley Benton, I know that that's going to be probably the best performing video of the week. Like, you guys are watching, so it'll be funny because you'll kind of know what I'm doing it next time I do it. I might just do it for fun, like just really, really make it obvious that I'm doing this for that reason, just to kind of prove the point of being like, you guys will click on anything that has to do with Harley Benton. It doesn't matter what the topic is. And not you guys. I just mean like the normal people that browse YouTube. They love their Harley Bentons, man. They love their Harley Bentons. But as you can see, I'm fading. This Mexican Coke is not helping me out so much. And no, not cocaine. Actual glass bottle. Man. So yeah, I'm gonna try and get a little bit of rest here before I gotta take my kid to school, or pick my kid up from school. See, I'm falling apart. I look like I have it together, you guys. You have no idea. I do not have it together. So, thank you guys for watching. I will see you tomorrow. We're going over to the Victory pedal, the Sheriff. That should be interesting. I'm not sure what to expect from it. It was kind of an impulse buy, but Dave recommended it. So if it sucks, we can all blame Dave for that. But until then, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for stopping in. Take care.